Hi everybody.
Welcome to our first ever video.
It may be the only one. Who knows how it's going to go.
So we'll just introduce ourselves. We are Twinset and Purl.
I'm Jo.
And I'm Rachel.
We're twins and we sound the same and we talk over each other all the time. So we apologise if that's what happens, but we're going to give it a go.
Hard not to. So we've been knitting for a long time, over 40 years, but we started designing we've kind of started designing before, but we officially started designing in 2020, and we published our first patterns in the summer of 2020, and things kind of took off more for you to start with, I think.
Yeah. And
then I created a Bridgerton collection of socks, and that kind of where things took off for me.
Yeah. So
we're going to do what most people do and in their podcast and talk about what we're wearing, our FOs, not all of them because obviously it's our first one and we would have lots to show you. So we just picked one each of our FOs and then some whips and a couple of new designs, one each. And we're just going to see how it goes. So, Jo.
Okay, so we'll start with what I'm wearing. So I'm wearing a new design. So it kind of ticks off two boxes, I guess. So this is going to be called the Moreton Street Cowl. And it's a shawl-shaped cowl. So it looks like a shawl when you're wearing it, but it stays around your neck like a cowl. So I'd wanted to design something in this shape for a long time. And then I was kindly gifted some yarn by, I can't remember her name, Karen at Beautiful Knitters. And she gave me some skeins of their mohair base, which is called Chelsea. And this is the colour Wolf. And I absolutely loved it. So I've held it double, so it makes a fingering weight. So you could knit it in any fingering weight yarn. And it would be about 100 gram skein of fingering weight yarn. So it's a slip stitch pattern which creates this kind of, it looks like little mermaid scales, I think, and then it's got a garter edge.
So you're going to be testing that soon,
yeah, you? So I've written the pattern and it's going to be going out to testers. Tester call will be next week.
Brilliant.
So yeah, so that's what I'm wearing. What are you wearing?
I think it's lovely. In fact, I love mine because this was very special. Jo designed and knitted this for me for my birthday last birthday. And this is, she called it the Disco Bunny shawl, which is reminiscent of a nickname that I had in university, but the less said about that, the better. And it's disco because it's got sequins. So this is knitted in Drop Sky with King Cole Cosmo sequined thread that you hold. She's held on these garter. Is it the garter?
Yeah,
Purl
the garter
bumps.
ridge.
Yeah, and it's a triangle shaped shawl, and it's so soft, and it's in the light grey Drop Sky, and the pattern. I'm persuaded she wasn't going to write it up because she thinks it's too simple, but I think it's beautiful and I think that lots of people would love it. So I'm forcing her to write it up.
So that might be coming in February. We'll see.
Later in the year. We'll give her a break, let her decide when she wants to write it, but it is going to be a pattern soon. So that's Disco Bunny. And if we do end up publishing this video, we will put as much information as possible in the description box below. That's where the show notes will be. Cool. So you were born first, so you can go first with your FO.
Oh, thanks. I don't get to do very much.
She's 4 minutes older than me.
Yeah, counts a lot. The oldest twin always thinks that counts. Anyway, this is my FO, and it's the Scout shawl.
It's beautiful.
By Florence Spurling, and it's I've knit it in lots of leftovers that I had from a pattern I designed for Botanical Yarn for her January box. So I designed a scarf and a cowl called the Floral Facet, and I had all these, it's 31 minis, so I had all these bits left over. So I decided to knit this, which the original design is in 5 colours, but I've just done all the colours, and you can see where I've run out. I've added extra little bits in, but I think it looks lovely. It looks like a patchwork quilt, like somebody's just joined all their bits of their heritage together. So I absolutely love it. Yeah, so that's my finished object.
So it's beautiful, and it's totally out of your wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's not my usual thing at all, but I absolutely adore doing it. Couldn't stop. Like, each bit is so addictive, and yeah.
And if you're coming to Unravel, we're going to be helping Sophie on her stand, and the shawl's going to be there, so you can come and look at it in person if you wanted to. That's not long to go till Unravel. And so my FO is I am designing with Sophie of Botanical Yarn. We are doing a sock club. So she's dyeing the yarn, obviously, I'm no good at that. And I'm designing the sock pattern, 1 a month, and you basically sign up for it, and you don't know what the yarn's going to be, and you don't know what the pattern's going to be. But the first one was released yesterday, and I think people like it. So this is the beautiful yarn that Sophie dyed, and these are the blue Purl socks, which is named after a crocus which inspired the colourway. And I'll just take it off the sock blocker, actually, because you can't really see the lace. Let me just quickly fold it down. So I designed the lace pattern to look like crocuses, which is this bit here, with their spiky leaves either side, and that just runs down the front. And I was very pleased with the way they turned out. And so there will be a pattern every month, and maybe people will hopefully like it. Now they've seen the first one, they'll be inspired to and you can subscribe, you can buy the whole year, you can buy 3 months at a time. And as part of the sock club, Sophie's designed this little project bag, which is really cute, and it comes and a pin, and you can buy these separately from the as well as, you know, subscribing to the sock club.
Cool. Now I haven't knit very many of Rachel's socks, the cat patterns, because I'm not really a sock knitter, but I think that's one that I might have a go at.
But you can talk about the one you are knitting.
I can.
Because we're now going to move on to whips. And Jo is knitting one of my designs. I've knitted lots of her designs because in the beginning, I was the test knitter.
What, the pre-test?
The pre-test knitter, reverse engineerer.
Okay, so in my Birdstreet Yarn bag, which I was given as a birthday present from Claire, and it's absolutely beautiful. I have the Christmas at Bridgerton socks.
Wow, that looks sparkly in this.
Yeah,
one.
And it's in Birdstreet Yarn Waking Up Early,
which is one of their Christmas colourways.
And it's on Stellina, silver Stellina, and it's got all these little speckles, and it's just the most beautiful. As you're knitting it, you just, you know, this pop of colour and that little bit of orange and that bit of teal, and it's just so beautiful. I absolutely love it. Now, these have been on a bit of a pause because I've had lots of other things going on, but I'm almost there. I'm just a very slow sock knitter, but yeah, I mean, I think this is the sixth sock that I've ever knit.
You are liking it.
So yeah, I am loving it. Yeah, I am loving it. Now I've found these flexi flips. That's how I like knitting a sock, and they've revolutionised it for me. I'm absolutely loving it. So yeah, so this has got lace down the front and then a little tiny bit of lace down the back. So yeah, perfect. Absolutely love it.
And they were the 8th pattern inspired by Bridgerton. They come out at Christmas. Should I do one now, or are you going
to? You go next.
So, as we're talking about socks, I will talk about my half. It's actually a ho. So, Sophie and I are taking part in the Sock Challenge 2022, which is to knit a pair of socks a month, which obviously isn't difficult for me because, well, I've designed 8 pairs of socks already this year. But we are doing it in self-striping to try and use up some of our stash, because another thing that we're doing this year is not buying yarn.
We've made it 3 weeks.
Yeah, we haven't bought any yarn this year yet, so that's pretty damn good, I think. Anyway, this sock that I'm knitting is in the Dotty Wool Company, and this is the colourway Sunset, and this is the first. I bought all her friends club last year, but this is the first skein of her yarn that I ever bought, and it's lovely. And I was going to try and work it out so I could knit a single stripe, a cowl that would have one round as a stripe, but then they became socks. So, and I was kind of making it up as I went along. Wanted a long cuff, so that's about 30 rows, and then I was going to do vanilla, but I couldn't do vanilla, so I put this cute little cable on, and that's the first one finished. So
lovely.
I will be getting on with the other one.
I think that might be my kind of colourway.
Yeah, that's all right. You can have those. And I need to finish them by the end of January.
That's the good thing about having a twin with the same size feet.
So I can start my February one. I've got to do one a month. So.
Cool. So my next whip is in my Hohe & Co. sock bag. Is that what it's called? Sock sack? Box.
It's a box bag.
It's a box bag. And this is a little baby cardigan. So I'm knitting it in, how do you say that? Rosarios 4.
Merino, is it?
Merian. In colour 17, which is this pink with little splashes of orange and navy blue and grey, which I think is quite a modern for a baby. Quite like it. And it's a little cardigan called Billie by Garn, and it's like reverse stockinette ridges. It's going to be a little jacket. So yeah, so that's my sort of cute. Quick.
It looks a lot darker, doesn't it, than when
it's lovely.
Look at the actual.
So yeah, so I'm going to buy. It's for my niece who's just had a little girl, Lily, and I'm going to buy her like a little denim dress or something to go underneath it.
Does it have long sleeves?
It's going to have long sleeves. The sleeves you decrease, but I'm thinking of not decreasing and just cinching them in with the rib at the end, and just So there's
Does it have buttons?
It has a button band and buttons, but I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to do just buttons at the top on the yoke or all down.
It's quite nice for a baby, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't knit anything for baby for a long time, so that's quite a nice little speedy thing.
And my second whip, I have many whips, so not just, is living in my pamper bucket, Hohe & Co. pamper bucket. We do love our
Hohe & Co.
Bags. And this is a pullover, it's called, the Smaragd Pullover. It's actually at this very moment #1 and hot right now on Ravelry, and it's by somebody called Svetlana something. Should have looked that up, shouldn't I? That's bad podcasting.
It will be in the show notes.
It will be in the show notes. And I'm knitting. It's not the yarn that's supposed to be in the pattern. It's not even the same weight. It's lace weight, and it's Lang Alpaca Superlight in colour 19 749 0019, and it's this lovely pale pink, and it's so soft, and it's alpaca, polyamide and wool, merino wool.
Nice.
So it's but it's definitely thinner than baby Surrey alpaca, because it's 200 meters for 25 grams. So it's definitely mohair. So what I did was simply pick the size that had the same number of stitches as my museau that I knitted in baby Surrey alpaca. So I kind of knew it was going to work. I mean, it's definitely slightly oversized, but it's got this lovely feather and fan yoke, and I added some sequins for a bit of sparkle. And I'm left body island for sleeve island for a little bit. So that's how far I've got, and I'm hoping I can finish that this month as well, although who knows. Socks always take over everything in my world. So yeah.
What else are we talking about next?
We're talking about new designs. So we've got quite a few things in the works at the moment, and Jo's already talked about one of her new designs, but talk about another one.
Okay, so
It's not called what's written.
No, it's not. We've changed the name. So I had a design out last October, called Totter Down, which was a shawl that is a I don't know, it's not really a triangle. It's a bit of a weird one.
It's an asymmetric.
Yeah. And Rachel really liked the lace section, and she convinced me to design another version of it with a slightly different version.
Now I'm looking at it, I'm definitely going to knit it.
And
it's gorgeous.
We've been calling it Totter Down 2 the whole time, but I think I designed it for a friend of mine who's 40 later this year, and I don't think she'll watch this. No, she used to live in a place called Ashley Down in Bristol, so I'm going to call it the Ashley Down shawl.
There are lots of downs in Bristol.
There are lots of downs in Bristol, yeah. So it starts off at this end, and you have
Can I help you?
You create this point, and you basically increase until you get, where are we? Until you get to about there. I don't know how this is going to come across on the camera. And then you put these stitches on hold, and you carry on with these stitches, and you get this.
So this is the point.
Triangle shape. Can we see the point? Yeah, there's the point. And then you add a border on the edge. And I can't decide whether I'm going to add some fringe along with this border, or whether I'm going to put a tassel on each end. But it's a simple lace pattern, and quite effective, I think.
Yeah. I think
it smells nice. It's got that
jasmine
Rapture wool wash.
Eucalyptus. I think I might do it without this bump here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the Ashley Down. Yeah, and it's knit. This version is knit in this Regia Premium Merino Yak, which is so soft once it's been washed, and it's in the colour 07515, which is this lovely teal, which in real life has quite a tone, like different. Yeah, it's very tonal,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Cool.
I've got two things to talk about.
That's right.
To talk about two things.
Yeah, well, we've also got our
favourite things.
Favourite things to talk about. Yeah. But you can talk about two things, yeah?
So,
as the older twin, I'll allow that.
give me permission.
Yeah.
Right, so this is a new design which will be coming out before the end. No, maybe the beginning of Feb, because I've got another design coming out with Sophie next weekend. So maybe we should have talked about those. Oh well. No, she doesn't know that. So this yarn is beautiful, and this is Sugarloaf by, I'm second guessing myself now, Birdstreet Yarn. Sugarloaf. And it's on their 75-25 sock. And it's got, navy blue is my favourite colour, and it's got navy blue speckles and I picked this texture pattern which gives it quite a 3D look, I think, a bit like sugar cubes. So Sugarloaf isn't that very apt name for it, and then I've just repeated the texture on just before the tail.
I really like them. I think it's quite it's unisex.
Yeah, so
definitely.
It could be, and you could make them a bit longer if you wanted to, but it's lovely, beautiful yarn. So yeah, this pattern will be coming out soon. And then the other thing I was going to talk about, let me just say, that's living in a bag from my local coffee shop which sells crafty things, and we call her Jean Bags. But she will actually make you anything in any material you like. But this one is really cheering me up right now in the winter weather. So another Hokie bag. And in here is the most amazing skein of yarn that arrived from Fruitful Fusion, and I had to cake it up straight away and cast it on. So this is her Night Walk colourway, and it is absolutely stunning. And in there's oranges and all sorts of speckles, and it's quite dark, so knitting it has been slightly tricky for my eyesight, and it's the very, very beginning of so basically it's a cuff. But this is going to be a design, very simple, because it's the yarn is, well, it's not the easiest to get things to show up. So it's going to be like a textured, it's a twisted stitches, but you can't really see. And it's...
So it's slightly stripy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a twist.
On camera it looks
more
than stripy.
Yeah. But it's beautiful. Absolutely, I love it when you get like a little pop of colour.
And this design is one that we're going to give the money to the charity what's the lady's name? Sorry, I've forgotten.
She's called Urshat. And she's Fruitful Fusion, and she raised the skein of yarn. She gave money to charity for a Muslim women's shelter, and we're going to donate the money raised from the pattern to that charity, which we'll talk about it again when that happens. So we'll have that. She hasn't DM'd me yet with all the information, but she's going to send me the.
You haven't written the pattern yet either.
I haven't knitted a sock yet, but I might have knitted one by tomorrow night.
Yes. So. Cool. And so the last things we were going to talk about were, we each have picked our favourite design of last year,
2021.
And we just thought we'd share those with you as a way to end.
Yeah.
Because we haven't got any acquisitions, because we're not buying any yarn this year. So
although I did buy some more needles.
Okay, fine. I'm not buying anything. I'm literally buying no clothes, no makeup, no jewellery, no yarn for a whole year. We're going to see how it goes. I'm hoping to make it 3 months. That's my goal. Okay, so my favourite design that I designed last year is called Silver Dollar. And
it was for me.
It was designed for you for this yarn. So this is Winterfell by La Bien-Aimée.
In her singles.
In her merino singles. And Rachel had 2 skeins of this yarn, and she didn't know what she wanted to make with it. So I designed Silver Dollar for her.
So I initially bought it to knit a Birds of a Feather.
Yeah.
And just never got round to it. So I'm so glad.
So Silver Dollar looks more complicated, I think, than it actually is. It's an all-over lace with a slightly more
A
complicated.
bit like a checkerboard. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
and it's got a slightly more complicated
Border.
border
A bit
that's
of
got
cable.
some cables in
Sorry.
it. And they look. We thought they looked like silver dollars. So if you go into our Ravelry store, Twinset and Purl, you can see on the photo on the pattern is a lighter version, and you can see it a little bit better. But there we go.
Yeah,
I think you can see it there. The silver
they
dollar.
look like the seed pods.
Yeah. So that was my favourite design. The version that I did, I added 4 tassels, 2 here, and then 1 on each end, and I just think it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. Right. So that's my favourite design.
And
What was your favourite?
my favourite design was my first ever sweater design, which
Sit forward a bit.
sorry, Foxy, joking help me, which was basically happened because Sophie made me do it. Sophie from Botanical Yarn.
I think we're going to be hearing that an awful lot. Sophie made me do it.
Yeah. So basically, she asked me if I would design a sweater for a new yarn show at Farnham Malting. So by the people who run Unravel, they did one in the autumn called Sweater Weather, and she asked me if I would design it, and I ummed a little bit and then she persuaded me that I was good enough to do it. Anyway, this is the result, and this is the Lady Whistledown sweater, which is a simple raglan.
Which way are we going?
We're just gonna, and then we're going to show the sleeve with this design on the sleeve, which is these kind of smock wrapped stitches, which creates this. And my favourite bit is the cuff, which I think is pretty special. And this is it's a DK weight, and it's in her Donegal DK. And this is, I can never remember the name of the colourway. Something.
I don't think I knew the colourway, so I can't really help you. Sorry.
It's the same colourway as it's the new Vera sweater's name, because it's named after that yarn
right.
colourway. Anyway,
So it's a lovely. I've knit this twice because I'm a tester.
I knitted it twice and 3 times, and steeped my third one. So it's a lovely mohair and 4-ply held together
But
cardigan.
the comment I was going to make, having knit it twice, is that this design really helps you when you're on Sleeve Island, because it goes. You just want to get to the next one, and it goes really quick.
Yeah.
Also, I don't knit with double knitting very often, and knitting a double knitting sweater was a revelation to me.
Yeah.
Because I normally knit fingering weight.
Well, I knitted
sweaters,
the first one in a week, in 8 days, and wrote the pattern, and then it was with testers. So it was pretty quick, and
we all wore them.
And then
Sweater Weather.
That this stitch, I've made a little video that's linked in the pattern, so you can see. Yeah, you can see how to do
it. We
it.
all wore them to Sweater Weather, and we created quite a little stir at the knit evening afterwards.
Yeah, 4 of us in the same sweater.
Yeah.
And
so, it was cool.
Yeah. Great.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that's everything for now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it was lovely sharing some of our things with you, and we hope you liked them.
And hopefully we will manage to do this again.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I think we didn't do too bad. Like, we didn't talk over each other that much.
No.
Not as much as we normally do.
Let's stop now before we do.
I can say, yeah. Okay. We both love this so much, knitting so much. We're both so passionate about it. Sometimes it's difficult to keep it in. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. Hopefully see you soon.
Bye.